Good day, and thank you for joining us on today's live broadcast. I'm here particularly to have discussions about what has been going on over the last couple of days in our country, Nigeria. And very recently, we have a report of a woman who was stranded in Istanbul for over 21 hours because she was Nigerian. And I think it's really interesting because, tribalism has been a long-standing issue in Nigeria where people often, identify more with their ethnic or tribal group rather than with a unified Nigerian identity. And this tribalism has manifested in various aspects of life, from politics to social interactions, and even has extended to international travel. So when Nigerians travel abroad, they usually come across different kind of discriminations from international airlines, which can sometimes be attributed to stereotypes, or would we say prejudices associated with their ethnicity or naturality or nationality. For instance, some airlines we know have been known to scrutinize Nigerian passengers more closely, subjecting them to additional security checks or questioning based on their Nigerian passports. Well, this was the case of the Nigerian woman who was actually, stopped in a layover in Istanbul for 21 hours, and then the Turkish Airlines had no form of plan to actually keep them for 24 hours, so where they were going to stay, while other people went along to enjoy different benefits. Just because she had a Nigerian passport and she was Nigerian, she was kept for 21 hours. And she wasn't the only one, but she was the person who actually made a call for help via her social media handles. And before we continue, let's just pay a listen to exactly what happened, and then we'll come back and have conversations about it.
So this is one of those times where travel is not all fun and games. I'm at Istanbul right now, and I have a 22-hour layover here in Istanbul. Now, before this ticket was booked, it's clearly stated on their website. Nigeria is listed amongst the countries that if we come here, then we get a hotel if you have a 21-hour layover. So you get an option of a hotel, or you get an option of a tour package, a free tour package, both sponsored by Turkish Airlines. I get here today to the help desk, and they say because of my nationality, my Nigerian passport basically, I don't have access to going into Istanbul. For me, it would have to be a consulate visa, not a visa that you can get here at the airport or anything like that. Now, none of this is stated on their website for stopovers. I show up here this morning, and in not so many words, they tell me there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. My passport is Nigerian. Oh, they offered me a meal ticket, and that's pretty much the best they can do. A meal ticket, and then I have to sit here and wait for 21 hours at the airport. This makes me feel really bad. The staff here are just doing their job, basically. What they were told is what they're doing. How did we get here? Like, how did we get here where our passport is at the point where other people gain free access, free stuff, they get a free hotel, free everything, and then my Nigerian passport basically keeps me sitting in the airport for 21 hours. Who are the people in charge of negotiating these things? Is there any government agency in Nigeria who is in charge of making sure that Nigerians are not marginalized like this when they're traveling? Like, who are we supposed to talk to in Nigeria? Who is supposed to speak to Turkish Airlines to say, if you keep Nigerians in the airport for 21 hours, what provisions have you made for them? As a matter of fact, this airport has a hotel in it, but Turkish Airlines has no provision to keep Nigerian citizens in the hotel here. However, for any other person, other nationalities, they get to go to a hotel for free, or they get a tour package for free. Who is in charge of negotiating these deals? I'll ask again. Why are we being sold tickets without an option? Like, how did we get here? I've spoken all the words I possibly can. I've said anything that is necessary to be said here, but it will seem their hands are tied. And right now they're trying to see if there's a possibility of taking me to the business class lounge, and that's the very best they can do for me today. Where did we go wrong? These are one of the times that I feel really sad to be Nigerian, and really, really sad that I do have a Nigerian passport. And if it's the last thing I do on earth, I would get another passport, because this is the most unpleasant experience ever. And the only reason I'm going through this is because I am Nigerian with a Nigerian passport. This has to stop. I just came off a trip from my 7th-year country, and you would imagine that having traveled so much, things will get easier. Well, sometimes it does not, and these are one of the sad realities of holding a Nigerian passport. This really made me feel bad in so many ways. I mean, that feeling of, it's like a stepchild that is not wanted, basically. That's how I feel right now, because, while I was here trying to state my case and argue my case in any way possible, other people were coming. And they were getting hotel reservations or tour packages very easily. But then because of my passport, and I'm not here saying the law should change because of me, because I'm traveling, all of a sudden the law should change. But who is negotiating how we are treated when we have to wait for 21 hours? Who is talking about it? Is there any organization at all in charge of this? Like, who is saying, all right, no problem, if we cannot get a visa to go into town, if we have 21-hour layovers, then what provision is made for that passenger? Who is in charge of it? Like, who is in charge? Because right now I feel completely helpless. Like, I just cannot do anything. Like, totally helpless. And it's a horrible feeling to have. Totally horrible feeling. I'm talking now. I'm on my period. I can't take a shower. I can't do anything. I'm just going to have to sit down here for 21 hours. This is wrong on all levels. If Nigeria is still a country that have people in charge of these things, you all need to act. This is wrong and completely unacceptable on every level. Turkish Airlines can do whatever they want. It's their airline. But who are the people to checkmate their activities? Where are the Nigerian organizations that their responsibility is to mediate when it comes to things like this, so that passengers like me do not have to suffer sitting at an airport for 21 hours, even against IATA laws? They proudly are keeping me here for 21 hours. Like, who keeps people in the airport for 21 hours? According to IATA.
Well, we've seen a really, really sad reality, because having Nigerians actually being stopped for 21 hours and there's no provision being made as to where they're going to lay their head, while other people, other West African countries and even African countries get access to nice things, get access to reservation, get access to, tour packages, and the only reason why they are being denied this is not misconduct or whatever, just simply of the fact that they are Nigerian and the fact that they have a Nigerian passport. And like she rightly said, that is segregation of the highest order, because if I was in a situation like that, I'd feel very, very much alienated to actually be the one that has to stay on in the airports for 21 hours without anybody asking about my whereabouts or asking about how I'm going to manage to get home. So like she rightly said, there are people in Nigeria who are in charge of mediating on the treatments Nigerians get, especially when they're traveling. This is not the first time things like this are happening. There are different reports that have shown over time that Nigerians actually get treated wrongly by international airlines. We have situations where people have sued for countless amounts of money, right? And then nobody's saying anything particularly about it, and it's just very, very sad to see. Recently we saw the situation that happened where Nigerians who boarded a flight from connecting flights to Paris actually were kept for 14 hours and nobody actively did anything about it. And then they had situations where they said they were giving them £15 vouchers just to collect as compensation. And it's very funny, because usually the law states that at least they're going to get between £200 to £600, depending on how much the cost of the ticket is and depending on the distance. But it's just very sad to see that nobody's negotiating properly on behalf of Nigerians who are actively traveling. And so it's very, very sad to see. Coming on the heels of that, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has initiated an investigation into a flight delay that was experienced by Air France passengers in Paris on Friday. The delay, estimated at over 14 hours, caused frustration among passengers, with allegations of disrespect and discrimination leveled against the airline. The Nigeria-bound passengers who are still stranded at the airport airports, as at the time of this report on Friday, voiced their grievances in an online video. The video depicted scenes of dissatisfaction among passengers who had endured a long day. And in response to this, Air France reportedly provided, like I said earlier, £15 vouchers to each passenger as compensation. And it is very laughable because many Nigerian passengers who had flown into Paris from Canada, the United States, and other parts of the world were meant to join the Lagos-bound Air France flight scheduled to depart Charles de Gaulle Airport by 3 p.m. And some of these passengers said they flew from Canada to Paris as early as 8 a.m. and nobody's particularly saying anything about this. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority said they were looking into it and they were, having plans concerning it. But it's just since then, this happened on Friday, mind you. Nobody has given us any concrete evidence or concrete statements to tell us that, oh, you know what, this is what has been going on and this is what was uncovered and this is, the line of action we're going to make sure that the people who were stranded and the people who lost their time from being held at the airports for over 14 hours get justice. But we are not particularly seeing anything. And I think this is actually a broader issue. Tribalism is the broader issue because, yes, Nigerians face every form of discrimination outside. But when we come to our Nigeria, like come to our Jerusalem, I think it's important that we have conversations about how we treat one another, about tribalism particularly, because I think it's one thing, it's almost expected when you are treated wrongly from people who are, outsiders. But among ourselves, we saw what happened with Air Peace and the whole public outcry that came out because they were wearing Isiagu while they took off the flight. And I think it is very, 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 laughable and also very saddening, to say the least, because as Nigerians, even if other people have issues with accepting us, maybe due to stories they've heard and prejudices against us, but it is important that as a people that we actually know each other and get to love each other beyond whatever tribal or religious sentiments that we have. But while moving on, we have a Chinese supermarket in Abuja that has been exposed for restricting Nigerians' access to their supermarkets to purchase goods. They said it's only Chinese people that is allowed access into the premises. And I think it's particularly audacious because you are in Nigerian space, you are in Nigeria, and then you have an establishment that sells Chinese delicacies, beverages, and food, right? And then you are particularly denying access to Nigerians. They said instead this January, the managers and the owners of the Chinese supermarket just came out and said, you know what, we don't want Nigerians, actively in this space. And I think it's very, very, very sad. But let's hear particularly from the eyewitnesses who went there to actually see the situation of things.
Wonders shall never end. There's this supermarket I saw online. It's a Chinese supermarket. They have like Chinese stuff inside, food, ramen, and other things. So I wanted to go there and check it out. And on going there, they told me at the gate, the security people told me the supermarket is strictly for Chinese people. If you are a Nigerian, you cannot go inside. You cannot buy anything. This supermarket is here in Abuja, in Nigeria, and a Nigerian cannot enter. This is a joke. So that means the Chinese guy has more rights than you here in Nigeria, because he can enter anywhere he wants, everywhere. There's no place that he cannot enter. But you, there's a market you cannot enter. It didn't shock me. I recorded a video, but because it was by the road, there was so much noise, so I had to do this other video. Let me show you the place. You see, that's the gate, and that's the supermarket. Wahala. So I'm going back to our local supermarket because they say I cannot enter. Here in Abuja, me, a Nigerian, I cannot enter a place. Go and try this in China and see. Open a place and say citizens not going to enter. You go see what will happen to you. Nigeria.
Very, very particularly audacious, because I mean, we are Nigerians. This is our fatherland, right? And if we face racism outside, we understand that maybe we are in a foreign man's country, right? But to be in our own location, in our own place, in our own house, and in our own home, and also be segregated, because I don't think there is a supermarket or any place, particularly in Nigeria, that foreigners are barred from entering. Any public establishments, supermarkets, house, recreational center. It is not, it doesn't exist, and I stand to be corrected, right? So it is just really interesting that we have Chinese people who are actually here in Nigeria to do business. then they do business. It's okay to say, you know what, this place is made to cater to Chinese taste buds, right? So like basically we sell just Chinese beverages. We'll understand that maybe some form of cultural appropriation in their sense that they want to have a market that strictly caters to the needs of the Chinese people residents in Nigeria. But to outrightly ban Nigerians from having entry or having access to the premises is totally unacceptable, and there has to be investigation made about it. The report was that in January they just came. Mind you, they have Nigerian staffs working there. Some of the security people and all of that are Nigerians working for them, and they just came. The report was that they just came this year, January, and just told them, you know what, we don't want Nigerians in these premises again. Don't allow Nigerians unless your job is on the line. And then that was all it was. They gave them no form of explanation as to why they are saying this. And it's funny because assuming there was an incident, probably Nigerians causing a riot or doing something particular, will say, okay, this is where it's stemming from. But it is just very alarming. And this user actually came out and, said something about it. And since then, we've had different reactions, and people have come out. Some people have even taken it upon themselves to go to the venue to see, what, is this something serious? Or is this just, another false alarm being blown online? But let's take a video from people who went there live and direct to actually report from the scene to see what they had to say.
That's the Chinese Chinese supermarket. That's it here. So January they stop.
This January they stop. Why they stop Nigerians to enter the supermarket?
Why? What's happening?
They get any meeting notice. They get any approval from government. They get anything. They make them bring that decision.
That's what they do since January.
But before January, people they enter.
Before January,
Nigerians they come inside before them.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. My name is ASG. Currently, we are at the Chinese Chamber, Airport Road, Abuja. So we can hire my friend. We are up to 3 or 4 here. So we are not allowed to enter the Chinese supermarket. So it's not a joke. It's not a lie. We're there Abuja right now. We did the place now. Show the environment.
That's the place. That's the building. So apparently, yeah, we are trying to. We've been want to try enter the place. Maybe we know how far, but we have that now. Our Nigerian people, and then they sell, baby. They are the ones selling in there. So if we go there, they might lose their job. I was thinking we should just go and try to sell for us or not. But the security have explained things to us, and I think it's going to be wise. I don't want our people that are there working. They say even if they sell for us now, it will backfire on them. That's what they said. That's what they said. So we will not go to inside the. We don't want to force ourselves inside the supermarket, so it will not cause issues. So for now, we just confirm that okay, you cannot go in as a Nigerian. Okay, they said that it's from January. They stop allowing Nigerians to buy things since from January. So you cannot enter. It's only for Chinese people. So that's what it is. We have confirmed it and it's true. So that's it. So
how do you feel about this?
I feel devastated. I came here with drama actually, but you see things where they background, so I had to behave myself.
Yes, you see,
I don't want to.
I know, yeah, you say
guys, stop it. Okay, let's talk what is more important right now. Nigerians are not allowed to go in. It's not a joke.
We all came together with
yeah, so we came together to actually see if it was true.
Briefly summarize.
Yes, so we came to see if it was true, but unfortunately it is true. Yes. Like if you're a Nigerian, you can't actually walk in there to get something. Reason being, I don't know, they don't have a reason. They haven't even actually given us the reason.
But we had that soldiers have been trying to make that room
for Nigerians to go back in.
Yeah, and apparently they say that Nigerians walking in there, so that if we go inside to get something, it might affect the Nigerians that are walking inside. You get? So we are not allowed to go inside.
And so Nigerian people that are the security in the estate, so we will not want to implicate them. So we will not be going inside.
Yeah, we don't just want to.
However, I'm so tired. I'm not asking.
Green khaki the background.
Oh, that he call like this, so.
Open fire.
Well, this report is particularly sad because, it was one thing for someone to come out and, blow an alarm to say, okay, this is what's going on. And it's another thing for after, people going there, like, they now realize that, what, this is actually very true. And I think it's really sad because there has to be some sort of explanation for this, because if you're barring a particular demographic from entering your establishment, even while they are the ones hosting you or hosting your establishment, there has to be a very concrete reason. If not for corruption that is going on in our country, which same reason would you have? That's like saying we go to somewhere like China, right, or one of these Asian countries, and you own an African store, and then you tell Chinese people not to enter. It's one thing for them to, you allow them access, and then when you get there, you explain to them that, oh, our catalog only caters to Chinese taste buds or something, and it makes sense, right? But to outrightly tell them that, what, you cannot enter this establishment even when you are in their land is very, very audacious. And it just shows racism, not just racism, but the larger issue on the fact that our government does not care enough, because the consumer protection people, the federal consumer protection, the ones who were going around locking up supermarkets for what they said was unfair pricing. This is where I expect them to act, right? Not in situations where they could have just used dialogue to talk about it. They were going around the other day in Abuja locking up stores, right? And then they said it was for sale of expired goods, sale of with unfair pricing, right? With no concrete reason, basically. And I think it's really interesting because we've not heard from them concerning this issue. If there's anything called consumer marginalization, this is a typical example of what it is, because you are in our country. Why would you have an establishment and basically give us like a red line to say, what, Nigerians are not allowed here? This is where I expect the consumer protection to come out and say, what, we have to get to the bottom of this. But they're not doing that. Rather, they are going around doing things that are totally unrelated, or things that have little to no effect on the Nigerian consumers, right? And so I think this is actually a broader issue, but we have to start from the basics of it, which is tribalism, because it's one thing for a group of people not to accept you, people that are not the same color as you, and I'll say, okay, maybe they have issues with racism and all of that, but within ourselves, even as Nigerians, we have an issue of tribalism that is festering deep into us. We have situations where elections come and people don't vote for a particular person because of his tribe, not because of the fact that he's incompetent or he's not able to actually lead the people. So as a people, we need to grow beyond tribalism or religious fanaticism in a way where we're able to say, what, this person is a fellow Nigerian, and that is all that should count. This is a person, and it should not be about whose tribe is being, or whether you're my tribesman or you're my kinsman. And so addressing tribalism and discrimination requires both societal change within Nigeria and advocacy on the international stage, because Nigerians need to work towards building a more inclusive and unified national identity, while international airlines must be held accountable for their discriminatory practices. In conclusion, tribalism amongst Nigerians not only affects their interactions within the country, but it also plays a role in discrimination that they face while traveling internationally. Because, if we can't get a united front, even amongst ourselves, how are we going to be able to present, that unity to outsiders? Because now they're going to treat us how we treat ourselves. And what rights do we have to bat an eyelid at it? Because even amongst ourselves, some people are considered more Nigerian than the others, and it is just particularly wrong. So we need to address these issues head on and promote an understanding and inclusivity both within Nigeria and abroad, that we can hope to reduce the impact of tribalism and discrimination against Nigerian travelers. Well, that is all particularly for now concerning this discrimination. The change starts from us. We have to make sure that even within our basic Jerusalem, in between us, we have to make sure we are not tribalistic, right? This whole Igbo cannot marry Yoruba, or Yoruba cannot marry Igbo, or we cannot vote for this because you're not our person, needs to stop. We need to look at the bigger picture, the united Nigeria that actually comes with, His Excellency Peter Obi has described it, and he has even used himself as an example to exemplify that as a people, we are more than our tribe or more than our religion, because like he usually says, no religion buys bread cheaper than the other, and no tribe buys bread cheaper than the other. So basically, we have to put put on a united front, because if not for anything, the problems we face actually plague all of us individually and collectively. It does not plague a particular region more than the other. So we need to throw away tribalism to the side. Well, it is important before I leave the studio that I make mention of the Obidient Family Cooperative, right? In the spirit of moving from consumption to production, like His Excellency P2B has always championed, right? It is necessary that we bring forth the Obidient Family Cooperative, which is an agro-allied cooperative society where we have parts of this business that cater to agriculture, fishery, and all of that. So if you want to know more details concerning this, you can click the link that is going to be on the description box of this video, and it will take you to the WhatsApp platform where you meet fellow Obedients and well-meaning Nigerians, and we can have conversations. We have gathered momentum in over 30 local governments in Nigeria, because people are in the forefront of making sure that they set up these grassroots structures against not just moving from production to consumption to production, but also being able to redefine our options against the 2027 general elections. And so before I leave the studio, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this platform, and also drop your comments, share your thoughts, and amplify our voices, because that is basically all you can do for us at the Obidient Family Cooperative, or rather the Obidient Family TV. So I come your way next time. Bye for now.
Nigerian, then this is good news for you. Now we all have NIN, which is our national identification number. But the problem is that when most of us registered for NIN, they made some serious mistakes with our details. Me, for example, they made a mistake with my name. Instead of spelling my name as Shalom, they spelled it as Shalomi. And unfortunately, when I saw this and I complained, they said there's nothing they could do about it. The only way I could change this was to go to the head office. Now, because I could not go through the stress of going to NIN office to go and queue, I actually updated the name Shalomi for about 5 to 6 years. To change the name on your NIN, you would have to swear an affidavit, you would have to pay 15,000 naira, you would have to write a letter to the Director General of NIN, and you would also have to do a newspaper extract. Fortunately for us, some weeks ago, NIMC posted on their Twitter page that they now have a website where people can actually do and modify these changes by themselves. So as a tech bro where I be, I visited the website, I registered, and I tried to do this change. And to my surprise, 3 days after I did this with the website, my name was successfully changed from Shalomi to Shalom after about 6 years of waiting. Now that is good news. If you know anyone that has mistakes on their NIN details, whether their name or their date of birth or their state of origin, then please send these videos to them and tell them that they can now make these changes by themselves by visiting the website on your screen right now. Send these videos to as many Nigerians as you know.